Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to understand about the market structure called oligopoly. What does it mean oligopoly? Oligopoly is a market situation or a structure of the market in which few firms controls the supply of a commodity. The competing firms, though it's very few in number, but each firm is large enough so that it can control the total industry output and a moderator. However, the increase of one firm output or sales will reduce the sales of the rival firms by a significant amount. So, from this, it would be clear that one of the chief important characteristic of oligopoly is the interdependence among the rival sellers, which we would have not here in perfect competition, monopoly, and monopolistic competition. This creates a problem in the oligopoly market structure, price and output determination. Why? Because each seller, as I mentioned earlier, each seller controls enough the industry, so a moderate changes in his output will bring the changes in the price and output levels of the rival significantly, so it will affect his sales. So my decision is affecting the rivals output and prices. So in that case, that his changes is not predictable, uniquely predictable. And individual, because of this, in oligopoly, individual sellers demand curve, or what we call average revenue curve, is at least potentially uncertain. Another one thing is that when we say oligopoly is a competition where it's like among the few dominant firms, competition among the few dominant firms, they are not like big enough in the market like a monopolist to able to act as a price maker. However, they are also not like a small firms who is like a price taker in the perfect competition situation. So, who is this oligopoly firm? Basically, they are neither price taker nor price maker. So, they are essentially price searcher. Um, the one oligopolist cannot take set price for its product independently, because we have already mentioned their interdependence among the firms or like rival firms is the important characteristic here. Uh, And another one thing is that how here still in the perfect competition, monopolistic competition, we would have not heard anything about the reaction of rival firms. But in oligopoly, the firm have to take into the consideration of rival firms reaction or readiness of the rival firms before taking decision regarding price or output or even advertising. So, however, the rival reactions can also be predicted with accuracy. Hence, this introduces the element of uncertainty in the oligopoly markets. The rival firms' reaction to individual firms' actions are uncertain. So, it would create the problem that to estimate the total demand for the product of a particular firm or like of an oligopoly is very difficult. And more the difficult part is to arrive estimate individual firms share in the industry output or like in the total industry sales. So in oligopoly, we don't have anything like price and output determination by one model or like one rule. We have something called non-collusive models and collusive models. The models are trying to explain the price and output determination of oligopoly markets with the case of duopoly. Duopoly is a limiting case of oligopoly where uh, different economists like Cournot, Bertrand, Chamberlain, Edgeworth, Sweezy, Stackelberg. They have, it's like it's there are lot number of theories which have discussed about this price and output determination of oligopoly with the limiting case of duopoly. The common characteristics of these first three models is that firms are assumed to, it's like they never learn from the past experience. So here they have assumed that the behavior of the firm is naive. That means that they don't learn from their past experience. What does it mean, duopoly? Duopoly is a special type of oligopoly. At least two producers or sellers must exist in one market. And here they are in non-collusive oligopoly, which means that completely they are independent. Still now we have said that oligopoly important characteristic is interdependence. But in non-collusive oligopoly, we assume that the sellers are completely independent. And how they are independent, how they are not learning from their past behavior is about to learn. And the pricing and output of one firm will affect another, and it may set a chain reaction. However, the firms would not learn from the reaction of the another firm. In this case, the first model is that one of the earliest model is Cournot model. It was developed by French economist Augustin Cournot in 1838. This model can be presented in many ways. However, the original version is quite limited, and it makes the assumption that the duopolies have identical products and identical costs. That means that homogeneous products and identical costs. Actually, Cournot illustrated his model with an example of two firms. Uh, Two firms are producing the mineral water, and since it is mineral water, he assumed that this can be produced at zero marginal cost. Along with this assumption, Cournot has also assumed that each firm sell their output in a market with a straight line demand curve. That means negative sloping demand curve. And each firm acts on the assumption that its competitor, that means the rival firm, will not change its output. That means decides its own output so as to maximize the profit. It will not react. The rival firm will not react the output decision of one particular firm. Let us explain this model with the help of a diagram. Here, D dash is the total market demand curve, and MR is the marginal revenue curve. And firm A is the first one to start producing and selling the mineral water. Here it will produce a quantity at A, where at price P, because at this point MC is equal to MR. As we already discussed that Cournot has assumed marginal cost of a producer is equal to 0. So where MC is equal to MR, here at this point C, elasticity is equal to 1, he will produce and sell his output. So the total profit for this oligopolist is OPCA. And now comes a new entrant, B. The firm B assumes that A will keep its output fixed like at OA, and hence firm B considers that this firm's demand curve is CD dash. Accordingly, its marginal curve is here, where he fixed that because firm A is producing OA, it will produce output half of the remaining market, which is AD dash. So at this level of output B, he will produce and he will sell at the price P dash. So he will produce half of the market which is not supplied by firm A. So in the AD dash, he will produce AB output at price OP dash. So here his price, his out um, his profit is also maximum. This is what it has been mentioned here. B's output is half of the market which is not supplied by the uh, producer A. So half into half, 1/4 of the market. Now, coming to the reaction of firm A, firm A is assuming that B will retain his quantity, that is output, constant in the next period. So he will decide to produce 1/2 of the market which is not supplied by B. That means since B covers 1/4 of the market, 1/4, A A think that he will produce half of the quantity which is not supplied by B. So half, 1/2 into 1 minus 1/4 which is supplied by the B. So half into 1 minus 1/4 which is 3/4 equal to 3/8 of the total market. Now, it's B turn. B reacts that Cournot assumption and he will think that firm A will not change its output. So, he will produce 1/2 of the unsupplied section of the market by A. So, again, he thinks that firm A is producing 3/8. So, firm B thinks that I will produce 1 minus 3/8 into half. That is half of the market which is unsupplied by A. That means 5/16. And again in the next period, third, A will assume that B will not change its quantity and hence I will produce another remainder 1/2 of the market. Again, half into 1 minus 5/16. So this action and reaction continues because both firms are naive and they didn't having the naive behavior. They didn't learn from their past patterns of the reaction of their rival. However, uh, this situation also reach an equilibrium wherein the two firms will produce 1/3 of the total market. Together, separately, they will produce 1/3 of the market. Together, they will produce 2/3 of the market. Each firm maximizes its profit in each period. However, the industry profits are not maximized. Why? Because they didn't learn their another firm's reaction. And of course, the final price will be greater than the competitive price but less than the monopoly price. If they would have understand their each firm's reaction, the industry profit will also be maximum. So in case of industry or market, the 1/3 of the portion of the demand will be unsupplied by either firm A or firm B. If we want to generalize this one, if there are n firms in the industry, each will provide 1/n+1 of the market and the industry output will be n/n+1. However, this model has following criticisms. The model does not say anything about how long the adjustment period will be. And the costless production, which is like in the mineral water supply assumption, zero marginalistic case, is unrealistic. And this model is also closed model because it doesn't allow any entry of the firms. If any entry comes, what will happen is also not explained. So, and this is here no learning by doing model. That means here firms are naive. They didn't learn from their past behavior. Thank you.